Hey guys, my name is James Walsh, and you are listening to the Wrestling Epicenter here on YouTube. I want to thank you for finding us. Please do me a favor and click that subscribe button and the notifications bell. And if you get the chance on this video, click the like button. If you do, it'll turn blue. Check it out. Also, check out WrestlingEpicenter.com for all this great content available in MP3 format, our online store that'll keep us going free and clear, daily news updates, as well as all the information from the history of professional wrestling you could possibly ever want. Check out WrestlingEpicenter.com online right now. Without any delay, let's get to your interview here on the Wrestling Epicenter.
Welcome back to the Blaze 1260 AM, as now we are being joined by a son of royalty, in my opinion, David Sammartino. David, how are you today?
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a little bit of a while since we've heard your name in the name of professional wrestling, so why don't you give us an idea of what you've been doing lately?
Well, basically, I've been I guess my career really, if I say ended, I mean, I really don't like to look at saying that it ended, but I guess since '94, I just basically have been taking whatever independent work that was available to me. I haven't actually been in the ring now for about 2 years, but for the last 10 years, I've been a personal trainer, fitness trainer, and I guess for the past, then I guess you could even call myself now, I'm basically semi-retired. I do a little training on the weekends, but that's about it.
Are you interested in getting back in the ring?
Well, you know, I'm 46 years old now.
Right.
I keep myself in good shape. But I think I have one left in me.
One match or one run?
I think one match. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I kind of watch wrestling from time to time, although I have to say I'm not an avid fan anymore, but I do watch things, and I keep my eye on things, and I did see something that kind of gave me some evil thoughts, you might say.
Oh, what was that?
What was that?
Yeah, what?
Are you interested?
Yes.
Yeah. Here's my thought. I watched it, it's called WWE now. When I was there, it was WWF.
Right.
But I'm watching Vince McMahon. And then I see his son. I believe his name is Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
And they look good together. They look like a good team. And Vince, he's been coming out lately. He looks in good shape. I think he's really 59, but he's claiming that he's 60. But it's the same thing.
Right.
And he looks good. And him and his son, they seem like they work together well. Well, I came up with a thought that I don't know. It might intimidate them. I don't know. But I came up with a thought that, being that I'm 46, and my dad, I believe, he'll be 71 this year. But I know that he's training, and I believe he's probably training as hard as I train. And I thought, boy, wouldn't it be a treat to the wrestling world if, say, for next WrestleMania, it was the Sammartinos against the McMahons. It is the main event.
Wow.
See, that to me seemed like a no-brainer, and to any wrestling fan alive would be like a real want to see. So that was my thought. I don't know, maybe other people would differ on that, but when I saw them two together, and I saw how they're building into this WrestleMania, I thought that for the next WrestleMania, that would be the complete dream match of the century.
Do you think that your dad would do it, though?
I could be wrong, but that's my opinion.
Do you think your dad would do it?
Agree to the match? Oh, I have no idea. This would have to be brought to the table, but this is what I was thinking. So maybe my thinking is unrealistic. I don't know, but that's what I was thinking. And I was thinking, at my age, if I wanted one last thing, it's like for example, if you ask somebody, hey, before you die, what would your favorite meal? What would your last meal be?
Right.
So it's like that type of a thing. It's probably outrageous. It probably doesn't make sense. That was just my thought.
With your dad being...
It just made sound, but that was just my thought.
With your dad being who he is, did you always want to be a professional wrestler?
Oh, absolutely. I've always wanted to be a wrestler ever since I was just a little boy, Because I had, my father I looked up to and admired so much. That, I was very fortunate to have the father I did. So I was, so from I'd say from when I was 5 years old.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Larry Zbyszko was a big fan of your dad's and eventually became his protege. As Bruno's son, did you feel that Larry was taking your thunder?
Taking my thunder?
Stealing your thunder,
Well, I don't know what you mean by thunder. No, I never. No, not at all. Not at all. Because first of all, Larry's. I'm 46. Larry today, I believe, is 54. So he was always, a good decade older than me. No, I never felt that. No. I wish maybe I've had maybe some of the opportunities that he had, in his career as compared to mine, maybe. But no, I never felt that way.
Well, you mentioned that Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that you'd like to team up with your dad one more time against the McMahons. Of course, you had a chance to team with your.
That's a fantasy thing. If somebody thought that would be, a good an attraction, that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Well, you actually had a chance to team with your dad about 20 years back when you teamed against the different incarnations of the Dream Team with Johnny Valiant. Yeah. Give me a little idea. What was it like to step in the ring with your father, and was it like a dream come true for you as a kid growing up in the business?
The first question, what was it like wrestling with him?
Yes.
Oh, well, it was. It was a dream. It was one of the greatest things I had ever experienced. Because even besides him being who he is, still it's my dad, and to have me and him together to do battle like that, and and especially in Madison Square Garden where we started out, that was a huge honor. And what was the second question? When I was a boy?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, nothing. No, there was no. It was just like, was that like a dream you had from when you were a boy to team up with your dad?
Oh no, not in the sense of that. No, I wanted to be like him.
Right.
That was never a dream to tag team with him. The dream was to be like him, to be a world champion like him, to be that kind of to reach that kind of stardom that he had. Because when I was a little boy, and looking at him and seeing all the respect and to seeing all the admiration that people had for him and him at the top of his game, wow, that was something for a little kid to look to see your dad. Because basically, my dad was, I grew up with a dad that was, different from anybody else's dad at the time, where other dads are. Like you were telling me yesterday, 9 to 5 thing. Well, that's what most dads did, went to the office or went to work or whatever they did. But my dad was this superhero type of guy who, as a kid, normally all kids have sports heroes besides, their dads or whatever, if they admired their dads. So it was like I got all this wrapped into one package, So yeah, that was huge.
What was it like being a part of the first WrestleMania, and did you think that show would ever become as huge as it is today?
Well, no. I mean, I stated before in interviews that no. It was back then. This is how I remember it. Now, if other people remember it differently, then they're entitled to that. But to me, it was just another Madison Square Garden wrestling show, except it was special because they had it wasn't a pay-per-view. It was closed circuit. That's what they had back then. So it was going to be seen all over the closed circuit. And that they had during the intermission, they had like this show, like Liberace was there, and they had a few, Muhammad Ali was a guest referee for the main event. And yeah, it was a little more special. But it wasn't like the phenomenon like it is today,
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't looked upon that.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it seemed like to me like it was a spectacle, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was a huge, it was just it was a super huge Madison Square Garden show. But they ran Madison Square Garden every month back then.
Right.
But this is just like one that was just a little extra special. It wasn't this big, super duper not like they are now. But I mean, it evolved every year after that to a bigger spectacle. It became what it is today. But the first one wasn't, like to the level that they are now.
You seem to just kind of disappear in the mid-'80s from the WWF. What exactly happened that made you leave the WWF?
Well, I had actually left a couple of times. When I first came, I guess I guess the biggest mistake that I had done back then, but I was young, and basically my dad handled everything. I guess my dad was the one that was handling my career because I had no say-so in anything. So what I wanted and maybe what he wanted were two different things. You know, I wanted to come in after paying my dues through wrestling. You know, back then there was different wrestling organizations, and you made your rounds, and I was young, and I was green. So I was to pick up experience, and it was to my thinking that after, you know, a few years, then I would come into the WWF, and that I would become, you know, a star.
Right.
You know, that's what everybody strives for, you know. So I was thinking when I was coming in there that I was going to be involved in championship matches, being involved in, you know, angles with other wrestlers. I know they use different words now, storylines and all this. I can't even keep up with all that. But I was going to be, you know, part of the system. And my goals were to be a champion, were to really climb the ladder. But that wasn't what was happening, you know, and I had no say-so in anything. My dad did behind closed doors with Vince McMahon, did all the negotiating for me. So basically, I was just to be a good boy and, you know, save my money and just do what I was told to do. So I was basically a young guy in the business being treated like a young guy in the business. And when things weren't going right, and then when I would speak up, I would be disciplined. You know, I would be like, you know, hey, well, who are you? You know, shut up and take what you're given, and, you know, that's it, you know. So, you know, so I guess things that I was immature back then. I was in my early 20s, and I was hungry, and I was really driven, you know.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, I rebelled, and I did things, and I let people know that I wasn't happy, and, you know, things, but like I quit a couple times, and then the last time, I believe it was in '88, then I finally got fired.
Well, after that run, you actually appeared in the AWA and had some title matches with Stan Hansen.
Well, that was after the first time I had quit. The AWA had promised to do some good things with me, and I said, "Oh, great," you know. So then I went over there, but those were just pure lies.
Oh.
When you just mentioned Stan Hansen. When I went, that was another bad move. When I went there, I didn't even know that show in Las Vegas was televised. They were trying to be sneaky and let me know that it wasn't a TV taping. They had done it in Las Vegas. Because if I had known that, I never would have done the job for Stan Hansen. But then again, too, back then I had a reputation for being stubborn, so I wanted to do whatever I could to let them know, well, hey, you got me. I'm going to play ball with you. So, you know, there's nothing to worry about. So, not knowing, I'd go ahead and do these things, and it would just end up just digging my coffin even deeper. But I mean, you know, yeah, it was Stan Hansen was the world champion at the time. So I thought, what the heck? He's the world champion. It's no blunder being there with the world champion. So.
Were you angry that with your lineage in the business that they didn't do more with you?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, I look back now, and you know, I'm a 46-year-old guy now. I wish I had done more. I wish I had been more. You know, of course. But I mean, I'm not bitter. I live a good life now. I mean, I'm not bitter about anything.
Right.
I'm not, you know. But you look back. I mean, I'm always going to look back and say, God, I wish I could have been this, or I wish I could have been that, or I wish I could have done that, and I wish I had that record or this record. You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
Well, you did have a short run with WCW and a few episodes of Nitro. What was it like working on?
One episode of Nitro. I was in Nitro one night.
Dean Malenko. It was a match with Dean Malenko.
And after that night, Bischoff promised to have a contract for me and everything, and then it was a total lie. Just like dropped me, wouldn't talk to me. Just a total lie.
What'd you think of your match?
I mentioned that on that tape too, by the way. I mentioned all these questions you've asked me. I mentioned on that tape.
Yeah, I've not actually seen that yet, but the guy who released it asked me about it. He says that it's a 4-hour interview.
Yeah, I'm not promoting it because I'm not getting any. I'm not getting anything from that.
Right.
I didn't know exactly what. See, basically, here's why I did that. I was hoping you'd ask me that. Mm-hmm. Why I did that tape in the first place was I was never a famous wrestler. I was I didn't do great things in wrestling. I was never really a champion of any kind. So I thought that I would never be offered, like, all these guys are writing books now. Well, that's never going to happen for me because, who really cares and wants to know about me? Because I was never a big deal in wrestling. So I thought that would be a great opportunity to kind of like give my bio a little bit or kind of like, let people know a little bit about David Sammartino, and there I'd have the chance to maybe explain some situations that maybe people thought or wondered or heard something about that wasn't true. So I thought that was my taking, was to do something like that. Now, these guys that did this thing, they were after one thing, and I knew that. It was just for smut, for me to knock people for this, and I knew what it was, but I was going to steer it my way to try to make it more of a well, I tried my own way. If you saw it, I tried to make it more of a humble, a real thing, real feelings, not getting down on anybody too much, but letting them know where I stood on a lot of things. And I tried to do it in a respectful way. I mean, they asked me some questions where I used some language and that, but you had to put a little color into it. But basically, I just wanted to make it a credible type of bio about me, since I knew I was never going to write a book.
That's interesting.
Mick Foley made a remark about you in his first book, saying...
Speaking of those kind of questions.
He said something about it not being a good idea for a young trainee to listen to David Sammartino. What do you think of this quote?
Oh, maybe he's right. I don't know. I know that anytime I gave anybody advice, I tried to give the best I could. So if it helped them, if it helped somebody, I hope it did. If it didn't help anybody, then I'm sorry about it.
Taking a step back, I'm going to go back to your initial idea of the tag match, because that kind of has me thinking. Your father's been rather critical of the current WWE product. He thinks it's too adult, and some people have called him the B word, bitter. What do you think of people who think that he's bitter?
Well, I don't know what they call it. Well, first of all, maybe they look at, what I really think is when I went to a few places, I heard older wrestlers call my dad bitter. Mm-hmm. And they misunderstand things. Well, first of all, I guess they look at my dad as a guy who's achieved everything there was to achieve in the game, okay?
Right.
So I guess because he's a very opinionated guy, he stands back and he assesses things and gives you the truth in your face. And I guess a lot of people can't handle that. I'm basically the same way. So I don't know where they get the bitterness from. I guess it's just like if you worked for a company all your life and you really gave your sweat and your soul and your blood to it, and you thought that there was something good there, and then you see people take it over and do something completely south with it, completely different with it, you're going to sit there and you're going to criticize and you're going to say, hey, well, we got good results doing it this way. We got results doing it that way, and that was respectful. Why do you, it's like how I said in the interview, like, they have all these professed geniuses that work in that organization. Mm-hmm. And the guys that really think that they have a brain on their shoulders, but yet they can't find better ways of getting results. It's easy to go, towards sex or towards some ridiculous type thing to get people to take, especially the way the culture is today, with the way TV is today, and all the sickos that are out there today. Yeah, it's easy, but isn't there where's the mental challenge of doing something constructive and taking a better, more wholesome route to something? I think that's basically, I say the same thing. Like I said in the thing, that I'm with him on all that stuff. I just think there's a better way of doing things. But they don't take the time. They're in for that quick thing, that quick result, I guess. And and basically, from what I've heard, you can watch TV and you can never see this because it's such a spectacle on TV. But their business, well, at least a year ago that I know of, was really in deep jeopardy.
It's not doing nearly as well as it once was.
Okay, well, I don't know what it is now, but I remember a year ago because I had talked to a few people that know a little bit about it, and they were saying, yeah, it's bad. But I don't know what it is now. Because wrestling's always been a seesaw business,
Yeah, it's always gone up, and it has its peaks and valleys.
Yeah, it's always gone up and down.
Based on the ratings I've seen, I'd say it's pretty much the same as last year. Okay. But they're not going down, but they kind of leveled off on this tiny little plane, and they're not going up. So.
Well, you know better than I do. I really, I really don't know. Because I don't really talk to anybody with the knowledge,
They're doing this Hall of Fame thing at the WWE, and they're trying to add some legitimacy to it. And in my opinion, the Hall of Fame does not have enough legitimacy to it because your dad is not in it. They have Hogan, they have Piper, they have some names that were significant.
Who was all mentioned for this one? I heard the Blackjacks and Gene Okerlund. That's all I heard.
Blackjack, Gene Okerlund, Sherry Martel, Tony Atlas, and
Sherry Martel. Did you say
Eddie Guerrero? Yes, and Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing I stated, and I stick to it. When this whole Hall of Fame thing started, I really believe in my gut that he purposely came up with this thing, because there were things going on at the time, that to keep my dad out of it. But then he got a lot of backlash from wrestling fans. Well, how can you have this and not even induct your greatest star of the organization? Mm-hmm. So this became an ongoing thing, and it received heat. First of all, it's like how I said, you can't have a Hall of Fame in wrestling. I mean, because how do you go by popularity? You can't go by wins and loses. You can't go by, because the whole business is predetermined. It's a predetermined business. Not knocking it. That's just the way it is.
Right. Right.
So to have this Hall of Fame, like a football Hall of Fame, it's ridiculous. If I was a top guy, just say if I had a great career and I had been a world champion for 10 years and 20 years, whatever, I couldn't. Unless I was involved in the organization and they asked me, okay, maybe I would do just for the sake of keeping a job, maybe. But I wouldn't even be interested in being in there. It's like how I stated in the early interview before. Like for a guy like my dad, he should be in the Madison Square Garden Hall of Fame, because the thing that in our business that's not predetermined is the amount of people that you put in the seats in the arenas. And my dad today, to this day, holds the record in Madison Square Garden and most of the East Coast arenas that used to have wrestling every month. And those days, they didn't have the big loaded cards that you have now.
Right.
They had one championship match, okay, and then the rest were basically 4 or 5 preliminary matches with names that weren't such great stars.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's where, if they were to honor my dad, to me, in my opinion, that would be the greatest honor for him, because that's a shoot. That would be a legitimate Hall of Fame, because our business isn't like a sport. It's not conducted like other sports. That's why now they do the entertainment deal, WWE. Wrestling was always had the criticism and the mystique about, is it real, is it fake, is this and that. So in order to wipe all that away, wipe all the commissions away, that's why he came up. That's why he's doing it that way with the WWE. Make sure that entertainment gets in there. So it doesn't make sense to me to have this whole thing. And I hope to this day, unless they paid him a whole ton of money, because how can you refuse a whole ton of money if they want you to do something? If they do that, and like say for the next WrestleMania, if they went, because my dad looks pretty good. He had I know that he had back surgery. I know that he had hip replacement. And then if you look at his website on the internet, you'd be surprised to see how good he looks. He's flexing on the internet. He's been training, he's been working out. He looks great. Doesn't even look like he's 70 years old. He looks like he could get in the ring and wipe up some of these guys. So I would be honored to be his tag teacher for one last hurrah, to say the next Madison Square Garden, hey, let them induct him in that Hall of Fame, and then the next day, me and him can tag up and beat up on the McMahons for a night. I would love that.
What's your relationship with your dad these days?
I haven't seen or talked to my dad in, I believe, 15 years.
Wow. Why is that?
Well, look, in life there's always tragedy. You seem like a young guy. I don't know how much tragedy you've experienced.
I just turned 21.
But in life, there's sometimes there's tragedy. Sometimes people are stubborn. Sometimes things happen in your stubbornness gets the best of you. And I'm a stubborn guy. My dad's a stubborn guy. And sometimes, being that, I'd always be open to being with him on an occasion, if it was a wrestling occasion, if it was some other type of a thing. I would that wouldn't stand in the way of anything. But
absolutely. Well, not exactly how to phrase this next question, but not to give you a smutty type of question, but Ric Flair and a couple others have somewhat tried to, in recent years, downsize the impact that your father did have.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, they did. My opinion of Flair is not very favorable, to be perfectly honest with you.
I made a challenge to him on my.
Really?
I would love to challenge this guy. I would love to beat his brains in right on national TV. But see, Vince McMahon would never have the guts to do that. Vince McMahon. That's what I'm saying. Even this thing that I have in my head, he probably wouldn't even have the guts to do it because he's a gutless person. But yeah, after what I had read in his book, and I don't even want to promote that piece of that junk.
That is the most self-serving book I've ever read.
When I read that, I couldn't believe what I was reading. I was shaking reading that thing. I couldn't. See, I've known him. I knew him years ago and got along with this guy. I liked this guy. I actually admired him.
Mm-hmm.
I wrestled the Charlotte territory. I guess it was I came in there at the end of 1980.
Mm-hmm.
And he was he was being groomed for the NWA belt at the time, but he was a big star there. And he was very nice to me, helped me out as much as he could. He was a great guy. I looked up to him. I admired him. I made towns with him, and then, then to have seen, for him to have put that in his book, I couldn't understand it. Then I got extremely angry over it, and boy, I mean, really angry over it. How? And then my dad had met with Vince McMahon because it was again I think over the they met in Pittsburgh, and I guess it was over asking him from what I had heard anyway to get into the Hall of Fame and all that stuff. And Vince. They were in a room, and Ric Flair and Triple H both came over. And he actually extended his hand out to shake my dad's hand, like, "Hey, hi, Bruno, how are you?" And my dad just turned it away. And if I know the Bruno of 20-some years ago, my dad would have paintbrushed his face all over the place and thrown him out. but it actually had the guts to extend after putting that crap in his book, had the guts to extend his hand out to him.
Well, here's an example of what a nice person your father was. Your father said nothing but nice things about him months before that book came out. And it just seems so self-serving for Flair to even try to compare himself.
Well, first of all, my dad doesn't even really know him, to be honest with you. Ric Flair doesn't even know my dad. They were in a Japan tour one time. He just knows about the records and the book, the BS that goes with wrestling. He was on a Japan tour with him years ago. Okay,
mm-hmm.
It's practice to always be nice. When all this crap started, when all this shoot stuff started, when everybody's knocking everybody, that was never like that years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Even the guys you didn't like, you never said bad things about them in public.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you ever interviewed, or if you ever, whatever. And I never did that either. Until I start reading things and maybe somebody knocking me. Well, then I'm going to give it back.
Right.
If I know the person, But then some people knock you, they don't even know you.
Right.
They don't even know you. You talk about this one idiot. I don't even want to say his name. It makes me angry. But he doesn't even know me. But yet he'll put a sentence or two in a stupid book about me, and he doesn't even know me. So people, But back then it was professional practice, professional within the business. You never knock anybody. Unless you're doing an angle with somebody and you're on TV, that's another thing. But if you're talking about in a book or even in private to somebody, you never knock. That would be unprofessional. It's another thing today.
What do you think of the end of the kayfabe era?
I don't know. They exposed wrestling. They came out and they said wrestling's basically a bunch of crap, but we do get hurt from now and then. I never would have took. Like I said, I never would have took. If I was a big wheel in this stuff, I never would have took the route that these guys took. You know, I guess it's like, I don't know. I guess it was like when that one magician came out and exposed all Houdini's tricks and all these guys. I guess maybe it's the same thing. Everybody gets mad at this guy for doing that. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm like so stunned by a lot of things, and I don't know what, you know. So I'm surprised. I'm surprised that people even buy into this stuff anymore. And it's a shame because, like, you got some of the best looking guys I've seen in a long time. I mean, everybody's got a good body. I mean, these guys are fantastic athletes, and they work harder. You know, back then, there were a lot of lazy guys around that didn't want to do anything. You know, they just, you know. But now, guys, I mean, I've never seen anybody lazy. I mean, well, of course, I'm only watching TV. So TV, everything's going to be faster and hyped up because you have an hour or two on TV for that time. I don't know what the house shows are like anymore. But, you know, I remember guys being so lazy, didn't want to do nothing, didn't want to get up off their butt and do anything. But these guys fly around like, I could never keep up with that. You know, there's no way.
Do you think it'll ever go back?
These guys are great athletes, huh?
Do you think it'll ever go back to more of a kayfabe era?
Well, if it did, it would. If wrestling went back to the way it was, it would just die. If it went back to the normal way wrestling was, it would be too boring for people to spend that kind of money to go see that. They're going to have later on. I guess they're going to have to saw people's heads off in the ring. I don't know what you do to top what they're doing now. You'll have to actually kill somebody in the ring. You'll have to saw their legs off. You know, you have to drop somebody off the Empire State Building or something. I don't know. You know, you have to keep. How can you keep topping the stuff that they do, or have sex in the middle of the ring have an orgy with all those wrestling girls in the middle of the ring? I mean, I don't know what you do anymore to top with what they do, because normally that's what you did. You had to create more audience, to create that big house. You had to do something out of the ordinary. You had to create you had to do something. So I don't know what you do. I don't know what to rehash things all the time. So I don't know. I really don't know. If I wouldn't be good on the committee. There's no really ideas I could give. You know.
Couple things, and then we'll let you off the phone. First, Superstar Billy
You've got mail.
Our studio about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did, and it was a great interview with him, and it's great to talk to him.
How's he doing with the liver thing now? Did the liver took, right?
Yes, the liver took. He's looking great. I mean, he's big as ever.
Well, that's not good either. He should be big as ever.
Well, he's pretty. I wouldn't say he's big as ever, but he's pretty damn big.
He looks healthy. We'll say that.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, he's looking good, and
a big influence in my life as a young teenager, just starting out lifting weights. I think he's in fact, I tell you, I hope if he hears this, I extend greetings to him and his wife Valerie. I love the guy, you know, and I'll tell you what, you want to promote something, you should be promoting his book, Tangled Ropes. Mm-hmm. I bought a copy, I read the book. I'll tell you what a real man he is. You know, I read his book, and I read it from front to back, and I never knew, because I knew him throughout this whole time, I never knew that he was going through all the trouble and all the tragedy that he explains in the book. So I'll tell you what, this guy must have been a real man to keep it away from people and to keep it within himself, because I never once saw him intoxicated on drugs. I never once seen him like the way he explains in the book. So, you know, this must have been like, well, I never saw any of it, but that must show you what a type of a guy he was. He wasn't going to let, you know, people know, you know, he was struggling, you know, because I could never tell he was struggling, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, I knew when he had his first hip thing, I knew about that, because he had the limp and all that stuff. But, I mean, you never know by being with him that he was struggling, you know. He was always uplifting person to be around, you know.
Well, he did make a couple of comments, and I wanted to get your opinion on it.
Oh, yeah.
You answered the first one already. He said that you guys, he considered you a friend, so that's good to hear.
Oh, that's an honor for him to say that about me.
He also made a comment that actually, I heard through the grapevine, hurt your father's feelings, and I wanted to, not to try to get you to shoot on him or say anything bad, but what he said was he did an autograph signing recently in Pittsburgh,
Who didn't?
It was Billy Graham and Bruno Sammartino together.
Oh, in Pittsburgh. Oh,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. They said that they did one together, and he says that 99% of the people did not know your father.
In Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I come to find out since the interview through, I guess you would call him a friend or an agent of your father's, that the event was actually a birthday celebration for Bruno.
Okay.
And the event was in honor of Bruno, and that everybody that showed up was showing up for Bruno.
And Billy Graham was there?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm confused about is, why would he want to come on our show and say that 99% of the people at an event for Bruno, in tribute to Bruno, didn't know who he was?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even know of that incident. Because I don't talk to anybody. I don't know. I have no idea. So that must have been what, last October?
I guess, yes. He said that it was fairly recently.
My birthday is in October.
He said it was right after the homecoming, which was in October. So yes.
I don't even know anything about that. Let me ask you this: is he employed by WWE?
Is he employed by WWE?
I think he has a Legends contract.
Yes.
Well, the only thing I don't know. I honest to God, I don't know. I never even knew of this. Never. So you just spit it out now. Unless if he is employed by the WWE, maybe he felt like maybe he had to do that. I don't know. I shouldn't even say because I don't know. It doesn't sound like Billy Graham.
It doesn't.
I know this. I'll tell you this: that my dad always thought the world of him, and him likewise to my dad. Billy Graham's always been great to me. I always admired him. I actually love this guy. So I don't. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. And maybe there's something behind it, or maybe that's how he honestly felt. Hey, I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't a part of it. I can't judge. Maybe he was being honest. I don't know. And if he had whatever reason to tell you that, I don't know.
And that's the thing, that it just sort of came in at a left field.
You would think if it was in Pittsburgh,
right,
and if it was under these circumstances, you said they were honoring him, that the people that were there would know him.
Right, that's what I think too.
I can tell you this: that my dad has always been a figure of popularity there.
Right.
When I was there, he's done commercials for car dealerships and for beer and for commercials. So everybody knows my dad there. I don't know if it's changed now. I don't know. I don't know what Pittsburgh's like anymore. I haven't been in Pittsburgh for, my God, I bet you haven't been there. But they've got since I've been there, they've put new skyscrapers up. They've got a new airport there now. I haven't been in Pittsburgh probably for 20 years.
Wow.
Or maybe like this 15, 16, 17, something like that. I can't even remember. But it's been a long time because, my God, they've done so much to that town since I've been there,
If the WWE ever did do something with you and your dad together, and I keep going back to that because it just has my brain working, would you think that this might bring you guys back together again?
Well, I don't know. My intentions wouldn't be that. My intentions would be a business thing.
Right.
But if that worked, if that happened, then that would be great. My intentions for what I had told you would just be strictly for business. But if it turned out to be more than that, well, I would welcome that.
Here's a really personal question, and I hope it doesn't offend you.
Okay.
Do you still love your father?
Of course. I always did. I never denied that. I always loved my dad. How can you not love your own father?
Yeah.
You may disagree. I'm stubborn. He's stubborn. You may even fight. But the love, of course, the love is always there. Well, that was never a question. I even stated on that
thing. Yes, you don't have to say that.
Because I repeat myself.
Yeah.
Of course I love my dad. It always will.
Last question for you.
Okay.
If you never step in the ring again, if this is it, if the thing that you did and you telling your story and doing a show like this is the last time that people hear your name in the wrestling business, are you happy with how everything turned out?
Am I happy with my career?
Yes. Overall.
No.
No?
No, but I feel fortunate. This is what I feel fortunate about. Number one, that I got to be. I grew up with my dad, and I admired him. Okay. I'm fortunate for that beginning, okay?
Yeah.
Because I had a hell of a beginning, and I was thankful for being in that environment. I'm thankful that I got to live my dream as far as getting to be a wrestler. Because I didn't just get to be a wrestler. You know, I was never just a jobber. I mean, I've done them, but I was basically always used well. And I met a lot of great people. I met a lot of jerks, too, but I met a lot of great people. I got to live in a lot of different places. I got to go to a lot of different countries that I probably would have never visited unless it wasn't for wrestling. I met my wife through being wrestling on the road. You know, I got to do a whole heck of a lot that most people don't get to do. So I'm very thankful for all that. Now, I wish I could have done better. I wish I could have been a champion. I wish I could have been a top guy. I wish I could have, you know, been able to put up numbers. You know, I wish I could, you know what I'm saying? I wish I could have won the World Series. I wish I could have, you know, I wish I could have did this and did that and did that. But I didn't. I'm not bitter about it. I think my career personally was handled like crap. But maybe I wasn't good enough either. I don't know. I mean, I thought that I was good. Maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe promoters looked at me and said, you know what, he's not going to cut his brush. He ain't going to draw money. He's not going to beat it. Okay, that may be the thing too, you know. But I had a hell of a good time. I enjoyed it, you know. I got mad a lot, you know. I got upset a lot, but I was young and I was, you know, I was immature on things. I didn't know how to really, you know, handle, you know, maybe some important choices at the time, you know. But you learn from it, hopefully, and you know. But yeah, you know, all in all, I'm very grateful that I had what I had. But I wish I could have done better. That says it all.
Well, we can't thank you enough for your time.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back with.
It was a pleasure. It was fun talking to you guys.
It was fun talking to you as well.
Send my regards out to Wayne and Valerie Coleman.
Okay, I will do.
Okay.
Yes, they're right in the area. They're at Paradise Valley. He's actually living the gimmick now. I don't know if he always lived there, but he's there now.
Well, we'll give them my regards, and my prayers are always with them, and he'll always be a friend of mine.
All right, thank you so much, and we wish you the best of luck.
Okay.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
So long.
Hey guys, my name is James Walsh, and you are listening to the Wrestling Epicenter here on YouTube. I want to thank you for finding us. Please do me a favor and click that subscribe button and the notifications bell. And if you get the chance on this video, click the like button. If you do, it'll turn blue. Check it out. Also, check out WrestlingEpicenter.com for all this great content available in MP3 format, our online store that'll keep us going free and clear, daily news updates, as well as all the information from the history of professional wrestling you could possibly ever want. Check out WrestlingEpicenter.com online right now. Without any delay, let's get to your interview here on the Wrestling Epicenter.